hackers running amok. But should have meditated. Ah, shit. Come on. Ah. Food. Roll out. Ah. Roll. Eat some chicken, girl. That's good for you, bro. Yeah. Get that fur off. Alright, that's it. I didn't want to have to do it, but fuckers don't want to play fair. Let's get some food. Oh! I think they nerfed the signs. That fucking heavy attack takes for days now. Oh! They got me, man. Fuck. I'm gonna have to learn how to play this all over again.
Hello everybody, Jackson here, and I recently picked up the season pass for The Witcher and was able to play through Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine finally. I know, better late than never though, right? It just, playing through this, both of these expansions, The Witcher is such a good game. That's kind of an understatement, and I'm gonna try and articulate some of the feelings I have about this game. It's gonna be hard, because it's one of those things where it's an experience that you either understand or you don't. And I'd love to explain it to someone who's never had it, or just maybe you've had it with something else, and maybe that's what I'll try to go for. Hopefully I'm able to do that. That's what I'm aiming for. But if you've already had this experience with The Witcher where it completely enveloped you and you got lost in its magic, where it's not like your atypical open world game. I feel like open world games, they go for looks over the substance, if that makes sense. I mean, Far Cry Primal's world is probably the best Far Cry game in my opinion that I personally played. It was the one that I was able to get into the most and immerse myself in the most. Something about it was very visceral from the, mammoth hunt at the start and the lead build up. But so that's, in my opinion, that's the best Far Cry game I've played. I did next to Blood Dragon, but we're not counting that one. But so Far Cry Primal, you look at it like this. It's a gorgeous world. It's very immersive, but at the end of the day, you go on these side missions and they just feel very, I don't know, like the same. It just begins to feel the same. And it gets to this point, like where in a bio, I'd say like Dragon Age Inquisition, where you're going out in the world on these side objectives, but a lot of it is just busy work that you're just doing to complete shit, or to unlock a certain thing or something, just to do it. And I mean, your Assassin's Creeds, it's just, there's many that vary, that add variety, but I feel like even those are starting to dumb themselves down. Like I know people who have played Grand Theft Auto games since the beginning, and they say Grand Theft Auto 5, it just took this turn into, like safe area almost, where it was kind of bland with the side objectives. In the open world, it was more sandboxy instead of like immersive like the other ones were. But this, you know, and that's the thing with a lot of open world games where it's like, yes, there's side missions and they call it an RPG, but it's like the same thing. Shadows of Mordor is a perfect example, and I'm not taking away from that game because that game is incredibly fun. It's excellent. The story is well done. I mean, when they were pulling shit from the Silmarillion in that, I was blown away. And then I saw Gollum and I was like, what the fuck? Moving away from that. The thing about that though is the side objectives were much the same, like, you know, go, you know, do a bow objective to level up your bow, go do a sword objective to level up your sword. And they just felt like at a certain point these things become routine. With The Witcher 3, there's this weird thing that happens when you're playing it and you're going on these side missions, and it almost feels like you're no longer playing a video game. You're directing a story. And not any story, a grand fucking story with, you know, intrigue and murder and suffering and the casualties of war and the realities of war and the realities of living in a world full of fucking monsters that at any time could show up and kill your entire fucking family. You know, a world where the gods are still revered and the fucking, you know, anything magical is scorned, anything, you know, alchemists are being burned, herbalists are being burned. These, you know, this is the world where you feel like all of a sudden you're not just you're not just playing a video game. This isn't just routine. Like, you're stepping into a world and it pulls you in, and you're directing a character. You're directing the most badass character in this world. Like, they've given that to you. And you're put in all these situations and you have all these different choices that have multiple different outcomes. Ranging from shitty to less shitty. Of course, the end of the game has a very good ending, but I mean, for the, like, a lot of the side missions, there's a lot of shitty things happening. But, you know, it's, of course, like I said, and that's why this new area, the Toussaint, was so fucking, it was like, it was day and night to Velen. And I loved that about it. The whole experience was fucking surreal. And it just reconnected, and there's this certain time in your childhood. You probably know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna give you a personal experience. This is like this is one that I can remember with the utmost clarity. That, you know, before I was thinking about love and sex, before I was thinking of life and death, before I started to think, there was a moment when you're a child and your imagination is just so pure. And you're taken away on a fucking grand adventure. And the one that I remember, my mom loved dogs. We had these two fucking dogs, and they both had puppies at the same time. So we literally had over 20 puppies in the backyard. They were fucking crazy little puppies. I'd go out there and I played them as the shit. I loved it. And I took my older brother's fucking Ninja Turtles out there, and I had my Ninja Turtles. And I had, like, dug these trenches, and, like, I had the fucking, I can't remember what it was called, but the fucking Turtle Mobile, I had that, and I had, like, the sewer play set. I had all this shit. And I'm out there, and I have all these mud trenches dug and shit, and I'm, like, running the turtles through them, and I'm playing like they got sucked into another dimension, and they're fighting these fucking, you know, gigantic puppy dogs, and they've got to fight them and take them down, and it's so fun, you know. I'm just playing with these dogs, I'm squirting them with water, and they love it because they're puppies, you know. We're all muddy as fuck. My mom comes out, she's like spraying us all down, just mad as hell, you know. And it's just that sort of just pure involvement with what you're doing, to where nothing else matters, and it's a very amazing experience. And that's The Witcher. And you may know what I'm talking about with other games that just pulled you in, that you know, that just bring you back to that, even for a little while, that sense of just wonder, of like discovery, of letting your imagination go wild. And it does this because everything in The Witcher feels like an event. Everything in this game feels like an event, from like the main story missions to the side missions to the things that just randomly happen in the world as you're walking down the road, to the treasure hunts, which are the most routine in the game. They're the most routine mission you could call them in the game, because they all involve like finding a hidden treasure, But the thing about it is you're given these opportunities to read these notes and read, about the people who acquired this treasure and what, and it's always like this crazy in-depth fucking story. And sometimes it involves like betrayal and murder. And sometimes it just, the wrong turn, people being warned that they were about to run into a den of monsters or something like that, or someone, double crossed them. And it's just, it pulls you in to this tale that's unfolding, and it's a weird thing, but you start to role play in this world as Geralt, and you're like, okay, what, let's go this, and it's these treasure hunts. It's these treasure hunts where you begin to feel like there's this new one in the new area not in Toussaint, but in the Hearts of Stone, the new area in Velen, and it's just this chapel, and it's just your run-of-the-mill treasure hunt. You go in there to find a treasure in there, and the story you find there, it almost had me. It did. I was tearing up, and I had to like put my headset down and go smoke and step away and separate myself from the reality. Because that's not reality, but it was so. It was almost like you watch, people watch TV shows and they gain, an emotional response out of the things that happen. People watch, movies and they garner an emotional response from the movie. This was just as surreal as that, but on a whole other level, because like I say, it's you're the director, you're in control. You've brought the character to this moment. You've led the Witcher to this knowledge, and the Witcher is emotionless. So the Witcher won't feel anything. He'll just, it's a portal for you, the player, to peer into this world, and you're not going to be emotionless. And imagine if you weren't emotionless, how this world would be. And then you start gaining, like I've heard it said that like NPCs in games are very hollow, but it's not like that in The Witcher. You start to ride through towns and you look at these people differently the more of this stuff you've read. And you start to understand their daily existence of, hand to mouth, fucking survival of the fittest, the low life expectancy of everyone just because of all the dangers of this harsh fucking world. And it's, you start to empathize. You start to give a shit about these things they're nothing. They're nothing. They're just a bunch of pixels that, say random, lines, the pre-recorded lines, and, not in random order or whatever. You hear it all the time. But at the same time, on some level, this game's hooked you into feeling empathy towards these little digital people and their fake life. And that's a magical fucking thing to get you to feel a story and a game so much that it takes you to that moment of just, I don't know. There's something pure in The Witcher 3. There's something really pure here, and I just wanted to talk about it because I was able to replay those, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a minute. And I've heard a lot of people talking about Horizon Zero Dawn and comparing it to The Witcher. I think we need to be careful about what we do that with. Because a lot of these games, like I remember Far Cry Primal, initially, like I was in love with that game, and then I got done with it. And these games are kind of built for instant gratification, instant, here you go. There's some games though that stand the test of time, that will always be, because those side missions, in order to do 100% of them and read 100% of all the things in this game, adds infinite replayability to it. Infinite replayability. And those are my thoughts on The Witcher and the season pass. Hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, take care, keep kicking ass, keep being awesome, stay safe, and hey, try to remember the member berries. It's essentially what this video was, and I wasn't even trying for that, but oh well, fuck it. Talk to y'all later.
God. There's a fucking boss down here. Thought I saw those ghosts up there. Came prepared. Curse you, mother. Ah! Ah! Whoa! She's gonna split. Hill. Ah! Fuck! Gotta get my spell. Here in the middle. Alright, come on, bitch. 15 ticks left. Damn it. I'll take care of the clones. She's not healing anymore, is she? What's that? What's going on? She's draining my life with that fucking thing. Oh, it's 3 fucking clones. It's like the noon raid. Gotcha! God. And now the music comes in. I'm glad it wasn't there. That was creepy. It's a very fucking creepy place.